My face is up here. So, Carol, I had a really great compliment. A cute boy that I like poked fun at my stomach, said I looked a little pregnant. No, that's not the compliment. But he said, your upper body looks pretty good. And he's got, you see, this is when you know someone could be kind of right for you, even if it's just temporary or short term or casual. When they're like, they get you. Because my whole process was, man, I need to stop drinking so much so I get this like little belly gone and work out or run more and bike more and do all this. But in the meantime, if I increase my upper body, I'm height-weight proportional, right? And he totally nailed me on it. He was like, no, you need to get rid of the stomach too. So anyway, he may be watching tonight, and if he is, I really think you're a good-looking guy. You really need to stop with the, like, I'm not a good-looking guy stuff. But if he's not watching, then I'll just say, I mean, just between you and me, everybody who watches the show, my own little YouTube blog, my vlog. We were doing vlogs, Carol, long before YouTube even existed. Can we just say that? When we started the show, me and my friend Dusty and my friend Skip, we went into Skip's bedroom, they put a camera on me and they just went go. And we would just rant for an hour. An hour, monkeys. How many monkeys will you watch for an hour? Wait, we got politics on the agenda tonight. But, long story short, every once in a while, it's like you see somebody and you're like, okay, that could work. All right, so we have so much to talk about tonight. We have to talk about Mitt Romney and what a colossal ass he is. We have to talk about Obama and what a jerk he is. Oh, right, yeah, you can do both. But we just have a lot of local stuff to talk about. Okay, should I just go, Carol? Can I just say that the ladies at the bargain box, one of the ladies at the bargain box gave me a new monkey. We'll be seeing more of him in the future. Thank you. If you haven't been to the Bargain Box in Cameron Village, it's a really good thrift store. It's really good, really cheap, and the people who work behind the counter are really, really nice. So highly recommend the Bargain Box. All right. So what should we talk about? We got to talk about Chick-fil-A, right? I know, Carol, my lesbian director, not but the lesbian director of Monkey Time is like, I'm so sick of this Chick-fil-A crap already. It's true! There's supposed to be some kind of national kiss-in on Friday or something around Chick-fil-A's. The conservatives had their day today, August 1st, Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day, where, Carol, they really got a lot of people to go out of their way to buy fried chicken. As a protest, Yeah, why don't you try staying in front of the Capitol at 3 o'clock in the morning overnight, right? Yeah, well, that's a protest. Oh, I know. Let's take everybody out and buy some delicious, greasy fried chicken. Yeah, that's not a protest. Sorry. But here's the thing, Carol, and we talked about this last week, right? The people who are saying, I have a pencil, Carol. You know that means I'm serious. For serious here, I have a pencil. The people who say that boycotting Chick-fil-A because of this, the stance of their main director, and the corporate people down below are like, oh God, I can't believe that idiot just said this. That's what's happening. They're like, we're about the money. Gay people are citizens. They buy fried chicken too. There's even black gay people. They buy fried chicken. And Latino people who are gay and have gay family members and lesbian family members. It's not like there's like good people who buy fried chicken, Carol, and then the gays. That's not how it is. That's just not how it is. You want to know how it is? I'll tell you how it is. There are gay and lesbian employees at Chick-fil-A's all across the country. And if you go to my Twitter page, I linked to an article at, God help me, Huffington Post. No, seriously. Carol, I don't know if you go to Huffington Post. I don't like Huffington Post. They do this link bait thing with their headlines, where their headlines don't match what the story says. They're trying to be the same thing as Drudge Report. They're just trying to sensationalize. I never have a good feeling when I go to the Huffington Post, but every once in a while, they produce a good article that gives me an okay feeling. But it's never a good feeling because the okayness is always tempered by, I'm at Huffington Post. No, it's the same thing with like any kind of right-wing lunatic like Rush Limbaugh stuff, you know, about Bane and Batman and all that garbage, right?
I have a comment on that.
Oh, Carol has a comment? Wait. Why don't you have a microphone on? Please call up and tell Carol to put a microphone on.
So,
yeah, wait, come on over here.
you can even see me from
Oh,
here. So
okay.
AOL pulls from two major sources to
AOL pulls from two major sources.
to feed their crappy pull-in and
I feel like I should be signing to feed Huffington Post, yeah.
Fox News.
And AOL pulls from both Huffington Post. I almost said Fuffington Post. I almost said something worse than that. And Fox News. Oh, the other, you know what's funny? That's funny because, yeah, that's funny. Because they just want hits. That's the thing with these big websites like Huffington Post. They just want hits. Gawker's the same way. But at least Gawker has like a little bit of a punk sensibility to it. I don't know if you may or may not know Gawker.com, Nick Denton's empire. It's the flagship of his empire. But Deadspin.com, go to blog.deadspin.com. And they're doing really sharp, it's a really sharp sports site. In fact, Carol, there are 3 sports sites I go to regularly. And by regularly, I mean once a week. But Deadspin, during the Olympics, I've been going multiple times a day. Deadspin has been really good. Did you hear about the scandal in Olympics badminton, Carol?
I did not.
You did. Carol says, I did not hear about the scandal in Olympics badminton. It's awesome. And I can't wait to see the video when I get a chance. I'm dying to find the video. This is one of those moments that I wish I was one of those torrent kings, because I would be all over that video. But in Olympics badminton, they used to have single elimination games, right? Where if you lost, you're out. But this year, for the first time, Olympics badminton no, I'm serious, this is fascinating. No, trust me, please trust me. Just don't turn the channel until I'm done with this story, damn it. So in Olympics badminton, for the first time this year, they're gonna make fun of rhythmic gymnastics too, Carol. They changed it so that there's this complicated double-tiered system where if you win this set and then that set. So what happened was the Chinese women's team played the Korean women's team. And if the Chinese women's team won, they would have to compete against the other Chinese team in the tournament. And so the Chinese team in the badminton, I think it was the women's team, in badminton, I was at work, I kind of, you absorb these things. Like we all absorb mass culture. Just kind of, I'm going this way, and the mass culture bit's here, and I'm like, oh, Justin Bieber and that photog. Oh, really, there was an accident. And then you move on. You know how, it all filters in. So I think it was women's badminton. So the Chinese women's badminton team, if they won against the Koreans, would have to compete against their fellow countrymen. So they tried to lose. And as soon as the Korean team realized that's what the Chinese team was doing, they tried to lose too. So apparently there's this awesome video of the Chinese badminton team like deliberately, lazily throwing the badminton thing or hitting the bat out of bounds or directly into the net, serving directly into the net. And then in another game, the South Korean team realized that they would have to compete against a tougher Chinese team if they won, so they tried to throw a game. So 8 players have been disqualified, and now it's just a total disaster. And I love that kind of stuff. Not because of the evilness of the negativity, but just because it's human. And the Olympics are best, not when they're corporate, not when the mayor of London gets caught on a zip line and hangs there, although that's pretty human. Did you hear about that, Carol? The mayor of London was celebrating London's medals and goes down a zip line and just gets caught and hangs there. This is the mayor of London, and he's hanging there, right? I'm sure Mitt Romney is very happy about this after what happened last week, right? And he's just hanging there while people are looking at him going, ah, laughing at the mayor of London. So anyway, what am I talking about? The Olympics. Badminton. Oh, the humanness. Sports sites. I don't go to many sports sites. Deadspin, Gawker. Huffington Post is like Gawker, which owns Deadspin, which is a good sports site. And Huffington Post today had an article about gay Chick-fil-A employees. Thank you, Carol. Give me some props. I circled back. I made it. I was pretty far out there. I didn't even go. If I would have gone to the swimmers' bodies, the male swimmers' bodies, I would have been lost. That would have been it. If I would have been like, I was at the gym last night, and one of the things I love about going to the gym is I get cable at the gym, because I don't have cable at home. I can't even watch this damn show. But, so at the gym, I can watch cable. And, man, I watched women's gymnastics last night, those vaults and the men's swimming, and and it keeps me at the gym, Carol. I'm on that damn treadmill much longer when I got some hot half-naked men in front of me, which is pretty much why I go to the gym anyway. Because, no offense, and I know there's some gym people that are going to see this and be like, oh, it's that guy. But I don't really care. But here's the thing. If you're a good-looking guy with a good body and you're okay, you're not arrogant about it, you know what I mean? There's a total difference. There's the guys that strut and all arrogant. And then there's the guys that are just cool with their bodies, do their workout, say hi, oh, are you using this? Can I squeeze in? I'm like, you can squeeze in all you want. But, those guys, those are cool guys. They keep me at the gym longer for inspirational purposes. I love that. And the Olympics on the screen is inspirational purposes. So anyway, why do I still have this pencil? Because the pencil is important. So there's an article at the Huffington Post where they solicited emails and calls from gay Chick-fil-A employees. And it's really fascinating because they're getting it from both sides, Carol. Imagine, I don't care how you feel about Chick-fil-A's quality of chicken or the bigotry of the main founder of Chick-fil-A, whatever. Imagine, just for a moment, it's a thought experiment. Einstein did this. You can too. Imagine you're a 19-year-old lesbian Chick-fil-A employee. It never came up in your application. It'll come up, Carol, if you want to be one of their franchise owners. Because they ask you stuff like, are you married? And they only want what church do you go to? They only want a specific kind of Christian married person to run their franchises. They admit this. Most of America's single, last I heard. But okay, Chick-fil-A doesn't want any of us. But as their franchise managers, that's my impression. I don't know if that's true. That's just my impression, get from gleaning. But you're a 19-year-old lesbian employee of Chick-fil-A. And now you get people coming up to you. Thank you so much. Those damn fags, those dykes. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are standing up for against the evil of gay marriage. And you're like a lesbian employee. Can I have it? Yes. Would you like fries with that? Or imagine you're a gay employee of Chick-fil-A, right? A gay male, 20 years old, 18 years old, and you're in a food court at a mall, and you're carrying an order out to a customer. And somebody says, you stupid, homophobic, awful person, how dare you, and screams out in the mall across at you. And you're a gay guy working for Chick-fil-A. I mean, I'm just saying, imagine what that's like. It's interesting. But the one thing, Carol, I will not brook this one thing. And that's what is that, 1800s, 1900s slang? I will not stand for one thing. And that's people who say that economic boycotts are wrong. I may not agree with you could argue that, if a black-owned business in the, 1920s in Alabama was being boycotted by all the whites, that was wrong, and I would totally agree with you. I would not participate in that boycott. I think those people who would boycott a black-owned business in the 1920s in Alabama or North Carolina, why even go further? In North Carolina, why, I would never agree with that. But the right to boycott is key. And all of a sudden, All the conservatives, Carol, who were burning Dixie Chicks records, remember we talked about this briefly last week, burning Dixie Chicks records back in the run-up to the Iraq War, or organizing boycotts against Disney because they had gay-friendly employment policies, right? Boycotting JCPenney. All of a sudden, all those conservatives who boycott JCPenney now suddenly have disappeared to be replaced by conservatives who be like, this is just terrible, terrible attack on business and those poor people. And all I ask is that we have a few basic attempts at consistency. Nobody's consistent all the times politically. Nobody's consistent all the time politically. I understand that. And what's the old saying, Carol? Not consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, but a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. That's the quote. Not consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. I understand that. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about a little basic consistency when it comes to America. And right now in America, one of the few powerful things we have left to do is decide where we spend our money. That's it. The rich people can dump. We're going to see, this election is going to be historic. People are going to look at this election for hundreds of years and say, that was the election where America went down the tubes. I think that's true right now. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's true. Where anybody can, Sheldon Adelson, or whatever his name is, the rich guy who bankrolled Newt Gingrich, can say, I'm going to give $100 million to Mitt Romney's campaign. That's changed. That's new. It's new since that Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, where any citizen can give as much money as they want to distort the political process. And you got John Locke from the John Hood from the John Locke Foundation, defending this garbage. Yeah, money's free speech. And John, your organization defends Citizens United. I'll print out those words and eat them if they're wrong. But John, it's wrong. John Hood, it's wrong and you know it. It distorts basic principles of democracy. It distorts the voting power so that rich people have more of a vote. And that's a fact. You can be all pure libertarian, well, black versus white, that's it, and not look at reality. But in reality, what's happening is poor people are getting screwed and rich people are reaping all the rewards of Citizens United. And they are going to dominate the election. And the small number of people at the top with a lot of money are going to be able to blanket the airwaves with tons of distorted messages on both sides. I don't care who it is, but we're seeing it more from the Republican side. And that is going to minimize equality under the law for everyone. It's going to minimize democracy. It's an attack on democracy because of some idiotic ideal of purity where money is the same thing as free speech. Idiotic, John Hood. Idiotic. So, we're going to see, this is going to be a historic election. Obama's going to win, and then the conservatives will be like, see, it doesn't matter. And it's like, no, it matters. It matters that Citizens United allows people, asses like Sheldon, what's his name, to dump $100 million into a campaign and flood the airwaves with his own money.
I want to talk about Sally Ride.
What?
I want to talk about Sally Ride.
Oh, Sally Ride. Carol wants to talk about Sally Ride. All right. I got too political.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Can I just give Walter Dalton a little plug? Sure. Monkeys, we have a Republican-controlled House and a Republican-controlled Senate in North Carolina. Pat McCrory is running for Republican governor. Remember when Bev Perdue actually forced them to veto a couple of things that were the worst? And they went ahead and vetoed them, but some of them, the veto held. If Walter Dalton does not become governor of North Carolina, we will have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican governor. And anything that Art Pope wants to get through the legislature will be through. No veto possible, no veto even worried about. All right, I'm done. You need to think about Walter Dalton for governor of North Carolina. Just because I'm not endorsing him as a person, I'm endorsing him as a firewall, right? Between a complete run, free reign in North Carolina for the worst elements of the Republican Party. Walter Dalton, a Democrat, will at least nominally be able to put a little bit of a break on the Art Pope juggernaut that will flood North Carolina if Pat McCrory wins. So Walter Dalton for governor. All right, Sally Ride's a lesbian. You know, there's some debate, Carol, on Wikipedia, on the talk page of Sally Ride's page, about whether lesbian should be used to describe the astronaut Sally Ride.
Would they want to call her bisexual?
Well, she was married to a guy when she went up into outer space. Then when she came down from outer space, was she married or just hanging out with a guy? I forget. But she was with a guy. And then for the last 30 years, she's been living with a woman as her partner. So is it appropriate, Carol? People are actually debating this. You know how those Wikipedia editors are. Yeah. They are like, no, strict. Is it okay to call her America's first lesbo astronaut when she was with a man at the time she went into outer space?
So you no longer an astronaut when she comes home?
And since she came home and then became a lesbian, was she really a lesbian astronaut? This is actually being discussed on Sally Ride's Wikipedia page. The woman was a lesbian. She came up at a time when it wasn't okay, when many, many lesbians got married. Carol, gay men got married and had kids too. And they still are doing it, Carol points out. You know, and come on. Listen, here's why it's important. Gay and lesbian kids out there. Oh, and I didn't mention this, Carol. As we looked, remember, 15 minutes ago? I know, Snooki did something in the last 10 minutes. And so 15 minutes ago is gone because Snooki did something. But 15 minutes ago, we talked about trying to get into the head of a gay or lesbian Chick-fil-A employee. Right? 18, 19, whatever, the first fast food job. You know, I was slinging ice cream at that point. And then I worked at a Wendy's spinoff called GD Ritzy's. You know, little paper hat and everything, monkeys. I am proud of that time. I served those burgers well. But now let's do another Einsteinian thought experiment, and let's step into the mind of a 13-year-old gay or lesbian kid, pick your sex, or transgender kid, in a family run by a bigot who's today, Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day, grab the whole family to run out to Chick-fil-A, or a 15-year-old gay kid whose father or mother are like, yeah, let's go to Chick-fil-A and show the support for that traditional marriage and those darn gays. And their kid, unbeknownst to them, is gay or lesbian and sitting there in Chick-fil-A, and dad or mom looks at them and says, what do you want? Try that little thought experiment. All right. I got to talk about the Latino vote thing. How much time we got? Ed, I'm seeing 2027. 2 minutes. All right. So it just got announced today that in Charlotte, the Democratic National Convention next month, or this coming month, it's this month, August, in Charlotte, the keynote speaker is the mayor of San Antonio, a Latino guy named Julian Castro. Now, everybody in America on the news is going to be saying Julian Castro. But no, you now know his name. There's an accent on the A at the end. That means it's not Julian, like Julian, Julian. Julian Castro, the mayor of San Antonio, was chosen as the new keynote speaker the main speaker for the Charlotte Democratic National Convention in a couple weeks. 1 minute. I think this means that Obama's people, well, it means that Obama's people know that the Hispanic vote's really going to be important. I think this means they suspect that Romney's going to choose Marco Rubio, the Florida senator, who's the son of people kicked out of Cuba, or who left Cuba when Castro took over. Rich people who left Cuba when Castro took over. Sorry, that's what it was. Rich people left Cuba when Castro took over. That's generally what that means when you see Cuban exile. People with property, people who've been milking the poor in Cuba. That's generally what that means. I don't know if that's true in Marco Rubio's case, but the Florida senator is probably going to be Mitt Romney's running mate. So to counter that, Obama chose the mayor of San Antonio, Julian Castro. Keep an eye on this. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week.